This is Spotlight Omaha. Spotlight Omaha is a local podcast that highlights local businesses and influential movers and shakers in the Omaha business community. Spotlight Omaha is brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Now, from the Pyramid Contractor Studios, the host of Spotlight Omaha, Jimmy Allen.
You know, some days you accidentally book two guests in a row, but we're lucky enough today to be joined in studio by Turner Schenzel, my good friend from Ace Handyman Services. Again, we are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm that specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your business online. If you can benefit from any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com today. Again, joining me inside the Pyramid Contractors studio is the owner of Ace Handyman Services, Turner Schenzel. Turner, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for sticking around for a half hour after I double booked the podcast.
You got it. No problem.
I mean, you guys have done a ton at my house. You fixed some drywall. You've hung some TVs. You put up a projector for me. You've done a ton of stuff. You guys are coming out next week to hang a ceiling fan for me. Can you kind of talk about what Ace Handyman Services is at its concept, and how you guys are helping the Omaha area?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, it's just what it sounds like, handyman service. I know that sometimes that can be a little bit vague. Like, what does that entail? I like to tell people anything from hanging pictures all the way up to like a bathroom remodel and everywhere in between. So think carpentry, doors, trim, cabinets, decks, fences, drywall, like you mentioned, is another one of our big ones. A lot of drywall repair and patching. Shower doors, shower surrounds, faucets, toilets, light plumbing on that side. But and then everywhere in between. I mean, I could go on and on. TV mounts, shelving.
Does that make what you guys do in the broad strokes of things of trying to let people know what you're capable of or have the ability to? Does that make it difficult to paint a picture for those clients? Yeah,
I think it is tough to kind of go down the list. Now, I think we've gotten a little bit better with, for example, we've got nice little brochure now that all of our guys give to a customer as they're going into the door, saying, hey, if there's anything else on this list. And without fail, every time they're like, oh, I didn't know that you guys did this. That, there's a list of like 100 things on there. So it's a super
hard to pack that into like a 60-second commercial to let people know.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I just tell people like, hey, when in doubt, give us a call. The cool thing is, we don't subcontract out any of the things that we do. So we hire the guys. We do a really good job of vetting them, not only skill-wise to make sure they're
personality-wise
that they do, cultural-wise, integrity-wise, character-wise, that type of thing. We're really picky about it because we care about our team a lot, and we want the good guys to stay. And the way to do that is to add more good guys, into the team. And so we've worked really hard at that. But they all come to us with a little bit of a different skill set and experience. Like one guy's been a carpenter for 25 years, so it's like he's just he's carpentry. Another guy, huge background in drywall. So we're able to specialize in all these different things because they all have had a little bit of a different background and experience.
Yeah, I want to ask about that portion of it, because when you have that wide range of aspect of things that you guys do, you got to have a wide net of employees. How difficult is the process to have that conversation? Because I think when people think handyman, it's kind of like a jack of all trades. Like, and you just mentioned you guys have some guys that are specializing in certain areas. When you're going through that interview process, though, what questions are you kind of asking that person? Are you good with a ruler? Do you know how to spackle? I mean, like, what does that conversation sound like?
Yeah. A lot of it is experience and history and what they've done. And so we spend a lot of time going over that. It's checking references. Did they actually work at these places or work for these customers or that type of thing? A lot of times pictures, like, hey, pictures of some of your work, things like that. And so a good portion of it is spent on the skill side. And we've got a skill profile too that we have them fill out to make sure that they, know what they're talking about. But even then, if the guy gets all the way through the, interview process and gets hired, they're out in the field. They're spending the first week or so with our lead craftsman. So
if they could sink or swim.
Yes. The guy can, talk all about, what they've done and how good they are, but until they get out in the field and we can kind of see what they can do.
What you mentioned when people see your brochure, there's a lot of, oh, I didn't know this. What is the most common, oh, I didn't know you guys did?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I think, the main things that we get called for are carpentry or drywall. And to me, honestly, it's kind of like anything else. They're like, oh, I had no idea that you could, do a TV mount or replace my faucet or, do the shelving in my closet or, things like that. So it really is everything else.
And I love the way you guys structure your appointments, because you don't charge per wall mount, per drywall. You charge by the hour and the work that's put in to give clients the opportunity, if they have something else that they need done, to fill that hour. Is that why? Because there are so many options that people may not know about, that you can kind of have an all-encompassing visit while doing the job that they called you for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we bill on a time and material basis, like you mentioned, and that way it kind of cuts out the the questions, right? It's like
sure.
we're billed for the time that we're working. So when a customer calls in and they're looking to get X, Y, and Z done, our office staff, they are asking a lot of questions because they're trying to find out. We want to provide a rough estimate over the phone. Like, we don't want to waste your customer's time. We want to give them an idea, like, hey, based on what you're looking for, you're looking at maybe a half day, maybe about 4 hours, something like that. But this is just a rough estimate, just so that once the craftsman gets there, he's either going to confirm or adjust that time frame based on what he's seeing. Now, usually the office is pretty
clients
good at that.
Sometimes don't paint the full picture of what they need,
or maybe they just don't know.
Yeah, true.
That's a lot of the time, and so the craftsman comes out and confirms that time frame. So we are confirming a time. It's not just like, hey, however long it takes, you're stuck with the bill.
Sure.
So they are confirming a time, saying, office was right, but probably right about 4 hours. But if they finish in less time, they go quicker, and we have them try to shoot for higher on that quote. Like, hey, try to add more time, because if you come in lower, everyone's going to be happy. If he ends in 3 hours, we're only billing for those
over prepared, over delivered type thing.
Yeah,
sure.
Totally.
When we talk about multiple day jobs, obviously there's some things that you're not gonna be able to knock out in a 4-hour time. You need drywall needs to dry, things like that. How open are most people to opening up their homes on multiple days? That usually seems to be an issue, because they're usually calling you for a reason, right?
Right. Yeah. Usually they're expecting that.
Sure.
If they're looking for like a bathroom refresh, something like that.
Yeah, that technically doesn't take 2 hours.
They know. Yeah, they know it's going to be a little bit longer. So luckily, and I think that's one of the benefits of being the Ace brand. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's a big name. It's reputable. We've been around for a while. Ace has been around for 100 years. We've been around for a little over 5 here in Omaha, but that's the trust factor. A lot of customers, they will open up their homes to us. A lot of our guys are going into their homes while the homeowner's at work, so they're letting us in, and they trust us. And that's a benefit of, like I said, the Ace name being licensed, bonded, and insured.
And you guys do a really good job. Not to pat you on the back too hard for the next 20 minutes here, but you guys do a great job. You guys send out a text message before they arrive with a picture of the craftsman, some details about him. Why is that such a big deal for you?
I think it's the trust thing,
sure.
And customers really appreciate that. So like you mentioned, customer books the job, they're getting a confirmation text, they're actually seeing a picture of the craftsman who's coming to their house. We also do, and all of those guys, by the way, are background checked, like I said, very heavily vetted, those types of things. So peace of mind there. But they're also getting we do a night before call too. So the night before you've got a job for tomorrow at 8 a.m., that craftsman is calling you that night before, somewhere between 5 and 8 usually. Somewhere around there, but so you're getting to hear his voice. You're getting to, actually talk to them before he arrives at your home that next morning. So I think it's a big deal. Guys coming in, it's not like the whole company's coming. Like, this is one guy. A lot of times it's one-on-one, and so them being able to see him, hear him, they know the Ace name and talk with the office.
I apologize, and I'm sure this person's probably watching this video right now, but I totally forgot. Somebody had texted me the other day, and I told him to call you. They asked if the guy that did our drywall does garbage disposals. Do you guys install garbage disposals?
Yes.
Whoever you were, I forgot, and I gave you the number for Ace Handyman Services. If you didn't call, there's your answer. Call and get an appointment set up. The one thing I love about when we do call and we do set up is they always tell the person on the phone. You guys have a great staff that answers phone calls as well. It always says, this is the allotted time that we have scheduled. But you pay by the hour. If you do have other things, make sure you let them know that, and they can kind of knock that stuff out. Is that difficult? Does that make the scheduling easier or more difficult, where you could say, okay, we know for sure Dirk's going to be at this house for 2 hours, and that allows Chase to kind of come over here and take this job? Or is it a matter of we have to wait till the day of to make sure that these timeframes add up and make sure we can kind of go around that?
Yeah, there's always got to be a little flexibility day to day, and that's what the office staff is. That's a huge part of their job, is making sure these guys' schedules move fluidly throughout the day. So usually it's pretty good. I mean, of course, every once in a while, Dirk's at a job and, hey, this is going a little bit longer than I thought.
Sure.
Can you call my afternoon appointment? So we're calling the afternoon appointment saying, hey, maybe Dirk's running a little bit late. So we got to, yeah, there's a little bit of moving here and there.
Yeah,
Just
it's
to make sure.
not always going to go exactly as
Right.
planned.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're catching up with Turner Schenzel here of Ace Handyman Services on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. When we talk about expansion, and you guys have dabbled. You guys have an office in Lincoln still, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You guys are in Omaha. You've kind of done some stuff in Council Bluffs as well. How difficult is it to say, hey, we've got this home base, it's working, we're having some success, let's try to branch out, try it somewhere else and see how it goes? Was that tough for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
In all transparency.
Sure.
Yeah, man, it has been tough. So yeah, we launched Lincoln, a Lincoln location about 2.5 years ago, and then we launched Des Moines actually.
Des Moines, that's what I thought it was Council Bluffs.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
Yep, about 1.5 years ago. So yeah, it is really hard, if I'm being fully honest. And I think the big part of it, it's always going to be tricky finding the right people, because that's so important to us.
Right.
And we're going to have a very, strict filter on the people, high standard on the people that we add onto our team. So that's always going to be hard. I think we knew that. But it's just also really hard running a local business. Here in Omaha, it's been super fun, and it's great because, you're a part of the community. Like,
Yeah.
I live here. My life is here. Everything.
So,
it just
so
makes
then
it
I have to
easier.
ask, why Des Moines?
Closest market, closest big
Relative
enough market to
sure.
be a good location. And we did have some friends that lived there at the time where we launched it, and so there was some connection there too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, man, it's harder running a location really remotely.
Yeah, and especially if you don't really know the community.
Yes, yeah, and it's like I can't be there here in Omaha. Like, I can be here every day doing stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
building relationships, meeting people. This is I can't do that in Des Moines every day because I'm here. So
Yeah.
it does make it harder. Yeah.
What is the biggest difference between doing business in Omaha and doing business in Lincoln?
Ooh, good question. I would say same thing. Although it's not that far down the road,
Yeah.
I still am just not there every day. So
Sure.
I try to have schedule out. I'm there on Tuesdays or things like that. But yeah, same thing. You just can't be in two places at once.
I want to ask about the Ace brand, because to your point a minute ago, ton of benefits, right? It's got the seal of approval on it. People see the logo, they know what it is, but it's not same. You guys aren't based out of a hardware store,
Right.
etc. What are some of the hurdles that come along with being associated with a brand like that when you're not necessarily the brand?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's been any downside to
Okay.
being a part of the Ace brand. Just to be honest,
I didn't know if
with you.
somebody just called and was like, "Hey, I need a leaf blower. Can you run it by my
sure,
house?"
yes,
Something like that. Yeah,
that does happen.
Sure.
Yeah. So people will call, and we just so we're on 84th and Center, and we do have
right across from the Ace Handyman. Yeah.
So we have people that call, and do you guys still have that Toro lawnmower in there? Or, that type of thing. Occasional foot traffic. They're like, this is not Ace. Like,
Sure.
across the street.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little
Hey,
bit
the
of
Energy Media Building has been Cox for 20 years. We still get people that stop by to pay their cable bills.
Yes,
So I get it.
Yeah, a little bit of that, but yeah, far outweighs the benefit far outweighs that nuisance happening every time and time again.
Sure.
But even when a customer calls, it's like, hey, just so you know, we have a handyman service now, so you still get to let them know at least.
Is that something that you guys have worked with? Maybe the it's not Shadow Lake. What's the one right across the street? The
Ace?
Yeah.
Westlake.
Westlake, thank you. Is
yeah.
that something? Do you have a partnership with Westlake and one down on 60th and Center to say, hey, can you guys mention that we're available? Okay,
Absolutely,
and they're because those are technically franchise, right? They're owned by different people, or is it all one conglomerate?
Yeah, so all the Westlake stores, which are pretty much all of them, in the Omaha metro area, those are all Westlakes.
And they're pretty receptive to a partnership.
They
with you guys?
totally are.
Very
yeah.
cool.
So all of those ones are corporately owned.
Okay.
So Westlake is a corporately owned Ace Hardware. But yeah, the building of that relationship has been amazing. They've been nothing but kind and respectful of the relationship now. We're kind of like siblings now.
Sure.
We're both
which is
under
the way it
Ace
should be,
umbrella.
right? Especially if you guys are having the same brand
sure.
and recognition.
Yep. So if you go into any Ace Hardware, you'll see, ideally, you'll see Ace Handyman Services branding, whether it's on the end cap sign or brochures at the counter or things like that. So
Is that a youth thing? Is that a partnership thing? How does that work?
Yeah, just us kind of partnering together.
Okay.
There is communication coming down from Ace about, they know about us. They know that Ace acquired us, and we're under their umbrella as well. So it's been great, and even the non-Westlake Ace Hardwares around town. So that would include like Gretna, Elkhorn, Springfield, Blair, Fremont, Valley. Am I missing one? I think that's it. So those are all individually owned. So that's like a local family. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it all benefits them to benefit each other.
Totally. Yeah. And so those are all those folks have been really great too. It's been nothing but just a great experience being a part of that brand and serving each other.
Is there anything from, I mean, we talked about you guys have a laundry list of things that you guys do, minus the laundry.
Right,
but is there anything because a lot of HVAC companies do plumbing now, and there's a lot of intermingling of services. Is there anything that isn't on the services sheet right now that you'd like to add to the repertoire?
I don't know about would like to add. We kind of draw the line.
I mean, there's some things you want to take off.
Maybe. We kind of draw the line really where licensed plumbing and electrical work for sure. Like we're not that, so we don't cross that line. So that would really just be like replacing an existing fixture. We're not running new wiring or plumbing or anything like that. And then on the contracting side, anytime you would need to like pull a permit because you're doing something structural or moving a wall or a bigger project. So when I say bathroom remodel, really it's more like bathroom like a refresh.
Yeah,
I mean,
putting a new wall up,
shower,
accents,
new shower door, new flooring, new vanity, something like that. So that's kind of where we draw the line.
And just for anybody that's out there thinking about doing something like it, you guys have multiple different companies that you work with locally and have built relationships to kind of partner with as well, correct?
Yeah. You just mean like in terms of material?
Yeah, or maybe a plumber that maybe needs to come in and maybe do something on the back end, something like that.
Yeah, so we've built over the years, we've built a really good referral list. So we just, rather than subcontracting things out, like, hey, we can get a plumber in here and we'll just, we kind of just refer out. So we've got a good network of, a plumber, an electrician, a general contractor for some of those bigger things, where we can say like, hey, I'd give this plumber a call. We vetted them. We know them. We trust them. You can use them for the plumbing work or the electrical work, that kind of thing.
I can't help but notice you've used the word vet a lot. We're vetting our contractors. We're vetting the partners that we have from different. Why is it such a big deal for you, for your name to be on the company, to make sure that the person that's showing up at somebody's house is safe, is trusted, and is reliable?
Yeah, I think not to be cliche, but I think it's because we care. I mean, I think there's almost nothing we won't do to make a customer happy. And here's the thing, like
I love the fact that you haven't said I one time, by the way. You keep saying we because you could tell it's a team effort.
Sure. Yeah, it totally is. But yeah, we've gone to some crazy lengths to make customers happy because mistakes do happen. You know what I mean? Like
I've been thinking about adding a portion of the podcast about horror stories.
Oh gosh,
I'm sure you got a couple of those.
Yeah, for sure. Because as great as our guys are, like everyone has a bad day. I do all the time. In my work, and so
sometimes you make a miss on a hire too.
For sure. Yeah, and so to keep that Ace name and that brand and that trust, like we've got to, we want to make sure our customers are happy no matter what that looks like. So, same thing with if we're referring out a plumber, electrician, I need to know that if
they're going to show
up,
they
have an issue or they make a mistake, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to go to great lengths to ultimately make sure that the customer is happy no matter what.
When you start the business 5 years ago, jump the time machine with me, go back 5 years ago, and you're going to have to hire some contractors. You're going to have to hire some employees. How difficult was it for you at the beginning to take your hand off the wheel a little bit and trust in other people and hand off your business and have them go do the work?
Yeah, not super hard. Well, it was hard. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing this, but in full transparency, one of the reasons that I loved this business was because of the model. So I don't have a ton of experience in construction. I can do some stuff, but
you're good at hiring people that are.
I would like to think so. But I can't do the stuff that our craftsmen do. Like, I am not on their level.
Is this technically a franchise?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. So like I'm not as skilled as them, but the model is built around all of us playing our role. So my role is to get out and network, build the business, and build the team. So make the right hires.
I'm sure the CEO of General Motors can't put a car together.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So there has to be trust, and that's what I liked about the business model is we all play a part, we all play a role, we get to respect and serve one another, and that's how it all works. The franchise model is something that just keeps coming up in this room a ton. A lot of people love the fact that there's a sounding board to go back off of. There's a track record that it's worked. Was that why it was kind of the right path for you as well? Yeah, I love the fact that you have a network of other franchise owners. So like right now, this franchise has just exploded over the last 5 years since Ace came into the picture. I think when we launched at end of 2019, there was 40 or so territories nationwide, and now today there's just right about 400. So it's just like exploded over the last 5 years.
Wow. Good or bad for you?
Good.
Okay.
Yes. Because in the beginning, it was super fun where you've got other franchise owners around the country that you can bounce ideas off of, or even just, misery loves company too. Running a business is hard. Like, hey, I ran into this today, and someone's like, hey, I did that. Here's what you need to do.
Right.
That's
fire that guy immediately.
Yeah, that's enormously helpful. And then now fast forward today, now there's even more. There's a couple hundred of those people, and so it just makes it even more and more fun.
Sarah on YouTube wants to know, how far outside of Omaha do you guys go to do work?
Usually, it depends on which direction. Obviously, we're located in Lincoln as well. But usually we say about an hour. I think we've gone up to an hour and a half drive. So that gives a pretty good radius.
She's in Blair, so that should qualify, right?
Oh, yeah. We go up to that Ace Hardware all the time to talk with those folks. We drop off donuts at the store, say hello, that kind of thing. So,
if we're talking about growth, and obviously we've kind of talked about some of the hurdles and problems that have come along with Des Moines, are you guys fine and content with the growth that you've had so far, and you're going to try to get those kind of wrinkles ironed out, or have you guys discussed even maybe extending even further out again?
Yeah, I am content.
Sure.
The plate is full. We were just talking. I've got 3 kiddos, and
one on the way.
Yeah, we're expecting our 4th. Actually,
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. The due date's Sunday, so number 4 will be here before we know it. And they're all young. We've got 5, 3, 1.5, and then we'll have a newborn. So
you and I are both very dumb people. Because I'm in the same boat, brother.
Or we're smart. We know what the future is going to look like.
True.
It's all going to be worth it. It's great. But yeah, so. I'm very content.
Plate's very full.
Yes, I think that if anything, so Ace has started to expand out. So they, in the future, there's going to be like Ace Hardware Plumbing, Ace Hardware Electrical, Ace. They're kind of going into all those areas. So if anything else, I love Omaha. We're going to be here. If anything, we would just expand different services inside the Omaha area.
We're catching up with Turner Schenzel of Ace Handyman Services here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. I do want to talk about you in personal life. This is a personal life podcast. When we talk about being a dad, being a husband, looking at growth of a business, buying a franchise, having 3 different locations, doing networking, being a boss, monitoring employees, doing hiring, how do you balance all that and keep work-life balance?
Yeah, it's oh man, I would be foolish to act like I know the answer to that question. I'm trying.
Most people haven't, by the way.
It's an effort thing, man. I try my best every day. I would be remiss if I not to get spiritual, but that's just a big part of it for me.
It's amazing how much it keeps coming up in this podcast.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, man. So that's at the center for me. I'm just trying to steward, all of the things that the Lord has given me the best that I possibly can, and I feel like the order for me has to be.
It's usually why He gives it to us, right?
Totally. Yeah. Yes. Yep. And so you have to keep the right order, though, right? So it's like for me, it's like, man, my relationship with the Lord, my wife, my family, and then the business is 4 or 5 or whatever that is.
Carry the one.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I just try to keep that order, the right order every day, but it's hard.
How much do your kids know about what Dad does?
You know what's fun? They actually. So one thing that I've tried to do, speaking of the Ace stores, I try to once a month make it to all of the Ace stores around town, and I take a dozen donuts for the team. Just say hello, like hey, remember us? Like, here's what we do.
Don't
I try to educate them.
We're here. Yeah.
Totally, yeah. And so try to do that once a month, and I started bringing my boys with me. Our daughter's a little bit too young now, but started bringing my boys with me. So got them an Ace hoodie, Ace hats. And
there you go.
So
team effort. Got all have the same uniform on.
So now the employees have kind of started to know us a little bit, which is super fun.
Yeah.
So we come in with the donuts and say hello, and so they've gotten to get engaged a little bit.
Why was entrepreneurship the right path for you to take?
Ooh, I think just the freedom side of it too, or the possibility of that, I should say. Not that that's always the case.
I think that's the idea at first.
For sure. Yeah. So I think, looking at the future, it's a future play, right? Where it's like, man, if we can do this well, then, I can start to do things like bring my boys to work with me for a day and things like that. And so, and then I like the ability to, it's on you. Like, you go out, yes, we have the backing of Ace and we've got resources. And so it's not, totally like some of these entrepreneurs are just starting from scratch, which I have great respect for.
Thank you.
But there's still, yes, you, man, for sure. But it's still like, hey, you still got to go out and deliver. So it's on you type thing. So it's fun.
How much is, and this is one of my favorite questions to ask, how much is your wife involved in the business?
0.
Yeah, it's
just going to be honest.
It's either one or the other. Yeah. It's one end of the spectrum or the other.
I shouldn't say 0.
Yeah. She's in the supporting role.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm processing everything with her.
Sure.
And she is the wise counsel on the side.
Yeah, mine as well. I understand.
For
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. When we talk about giving advice and being a steward, as you'd mentioned, if somebody's looking to get into entrepreneurship or open up a franchise or start their business for the first time, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start a business for the first time?
Yeah. Oh man, I would.
Other than don't do it.
Yeah, gosh, caution, for sure, caution.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it would just be make sure, like, what's the reason? Like, what's your
what's your why?
What's the reason behind it? For sure. Yeah. And so, because I think that will help. I mean, if it's strictly financial, you know, what if you have a year where you're not making any money, you're only spending money, so if it's leveraging debt or whatever the case may be, like that will be shaky at times. But if the reason is, man, I want to provide a place where I can hire people and just love on them and care for them and try to provide opportunity for them, like that won't go away. You can always continue to make efforts in doing that.
That cup never fills.
Yes. Yeah. And so so you can keep pushing for that. But
when people ask me how they get into podcasting or sports broadcasting, what piece of advice would I give them? I always say, prepare to be broke for a long time before you make anything.
Okay. Probably. I mean, yeah, probably wise. Yeah.
If somebody is looking for employment or they're a craftsman out there, what piece of advice would you give to them looking for a job or maybe trying to book a client of their own?
Yeah, man, I would say, you mean like trying to work for us?
Or just in general, maybe how they can better themselves as a craftsman.
Sure, yeah. I would say, man, the guys that we have that I think are just, you know, the sky's the limit for them is a humble heart. We kind of talk about three words. It's from a Patrick Lencioni book, if you know anyone's familiar, but these 3 words that we kind of use when hiring. I had a interview with a guy this morning, and we spent time talking about it. Humble, hungry, and smart. Like those are the 3 words that we use as a filter to filter the people coming in, the employees coming in, but then also like the measuring stick moving forward. So as we hire guys and then, you know, we're reviewing them at 30, 60, 90 days that, hey, have they been humble? Have they been hungry? And have they been smart? Humility is pretty straightforward. You know, are you teachable? Are you coachable? Are you kind? You know, those types of things. Hungry. You know, you got to have a little bit of fire. You got to want to work, right? At least a little bit. And then smart is more like people smart. Like, can you read the room? Can you interact well with others?
Because that's part of customer service, right?
100%. Yeah.
Is there anything we haven't mentioned about Ace Handyman Services that people should know? And what does your ideal client look like?
I don't think so. No, we're just we're happy to help with anything. Ideal customer is someone that I think just values an experience. Like they want someone that they know that they can trust and that's going to take care of them. We're not the cheapest around.
Sure.
I'm not going to,
probably a good reason for that.
Sugarcoat that. Yeah. And I'd like to think it's worth it. And I fully believe it's worth it.
We asked, and I kind of asked you this question sort of, is we ask a lot of people is like, what's the one thing you would go back and change about when you, open your business? And I think I stopped asking this question because 90% of people said charge more.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because when you're starting off, you think, well, if I go low or if I underbid what I actually need here, I could probably get the job because we just need to create cash flow, kind of what we were talking about a little bit ago. Yeah. Over 525 5-star reviews on Google. You can get a hold of Turner and his team at 402-200-3436 to book with Ace Handyman Services. Buddy, I really appreciate you doing this. Thanks again for sticking around. This is the last podcast for Spotlight Omaha today. We will be back tomorrow at 11, catching up with our friends from Springfield. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Peer Contractors. We'll see you in the morning. Thanks for joining us for 2 shows today.